Welcome, everyone. It's Dr. Woolworth, and today we're looking at generative AI and how it's shaken up the tax world. By generative AI, I mean platforms like ChatGPT and others that can answer questions in a very human way. So, why are the tax people talking about this? Well, these AI tools can potentially speed up research and help tackle hard tax questions in seconds, which is pretty cool for those of us who usually spend hours combing through IRS publications. It is such a hot topic that many accounting firms are experimenting with AI to gain an edge. So, in this module, we're going to figure out, is AI our new best friend in tax practice, a foe to be wary of, or maybe a bit of both? So, first, let's talk about what we can do with AI in a tax office. And first up will be tax research. Imagine you have a question. Oh, I'm going too far. Imagine you have a question about an obscure IRS rule. You could ask ChatGPT or some other chatbot and get a quick summary or even the text of a relevant code section. In fact, surveys from Thomson Reuters are showing that tax research is the number one intended use for AI in tax departments. It's like having a research assistant on call 24/7. You could also use it for tax planning. AI can help brainstorm. So, what if a client asks, how can I lower my tax bill next year? A tool like ChatGPT or others might list possible strategies. So, perhaps maybe max out your IRA, consider an S corporation. It's a great for generating ideas, including spotting various limitations or phase outs that might apply to the client situation. So, for example, it might remind you of income limits on certain deductions. And then there's client communication. And this one is exciting and my favorite. We can ask AI to draft a friendly explanation of a complex tax issue. So think of it of using it to simplify technical jargon into something a non-accountant can understand. I use this because when I get sometimes into my technical tax brain, I have to remember that the people I'm communicating this to do not have a technical tax brain. That's why they pay me to do it. And then we can also administrative stuff. So summarizing maybe that latest tax law changes or creating a draft of a research memo. And for me, as the owner of a small tax firm, I'm great at what I do, but marketing is not my forte. So I'll use it to help me draft marketing memos or even what to write in a friendly, informal way in all the client holiday cards I send out each year. Um, so really, a lot of this can show how AI could be used as a versatile helper in our day-to-day tax work and even administratively. All right. So why use AI? And the benefit number one is speed. So these AI tools have essentially read every tax code section, regulation, and many court cases, plus a bunch of other things like opinion pieces. So this means when you ask a question, it can pull information from this huge knowledge base and give you an answer in seconds. It's like Google on steroids, but with explanations. And this can save us a ton of time and research. So instead of flipping through and reading code sections or searching tax notes, now you can get a quick answer or at least a direction. Also, it doesn't get tired or busy. It's available 24/7. So if you have a client question in the evening after people have gone home, you can experiment with asking AI and get a starting point immediately. And then AI can be a great brainstorming partner. So sometimes, for example, I'll ask ChatGPT, and I say ChatGPT because it is what I'll use in my practice for some things. And I'll say, hey, possible tax planning moves for a family business. And it could list ideas like income splitting, retirement plan contributions, and etc. And some of those might be really obvious, but others could be something I hadn't considered. So it's a way to spark our own creativity. Okay? Essentially, if we use it right, AI can make us more efficient and maybe even more innovative in how we serve our clients. But let's go on and look at some of the risk. Okay, so for the reality check, what can go wrong? And the biggest issue here is accuracy. AI can, and it does, make mistakes. And sometimes it even does what we call hallucinate, which means it might fabricate a law or make up an IRS revenue ruling that doesn't even exist. Yes, it does this. I know it sounds crazy, but these tools are going to give very confident answers that can be completely wrong or misleading. Okay? So we have to remember that these generative AI tools don't actually know facts like a human. It's generating text based on patterns, so it may mix things up. And also, there are free versions of these AIs may not be up to date, and even some of the paid ones may not be. So if there was a tax law change in 2022 or 2023, these models might not be aware of it. So, for example, you can ask something like the current standard deduction or a new credit, and it could give you last year's numbers. Another limitation, AI does not have professional judgment or full context. And this is a big limitation. So if your client situation has, a special nuance, the AI isn't going to know that unless you explicitly tell it everything, and we can't do that for privacy reasons. And even then, it doesn't weigh emotional or strategic factors like a human would. And so also, if an AI gives bad advice, which it can and does, it's on us as the professionals. This tool is not going to take responsibility or liability for an error. Your client, our client, is going to be looking at us. So we can't just blindly trust what it says. All right, next. Using AI in practice isn't just a tech issue, it's also an ethics issue. So here's some big points. Confidentiality is big. We cannot go typing in a client's name, income, social security number, or any sensitive information into these AIs. Why? Because these are public AIs and they may save that data and it could potentially leak or be seen by AI trainers. And so many firms are actually warning or even banning staff away from inputting client data into AI. And in my opinion, they should. Do not put in specific client data into AI. We have to protect taxpayer data. It's a core professional duty. Next, we'll have due diligence. The AICPA's tax standards and IRS Circular 230 require us as tax professionals to be diligent and accurate. That means if we use AI to get an answer, we have to verify that answer using official tax law sources. So the way I like to think about it is we use AI as a first draft or maybe that starting clue. We still have to do the real checking. AI is not authoritative. The IRS code and regulations are. So all of our normal professional standards also still apply, even if we used an AI in the process. If we give advice, it has to meet the same bar as if we had done all of the research manually. And then transparency. This one's in a big of a debate right now. Are you going to tell your client that you used a AI model to help research their issue? Some people say yes, we need to be transparent, or if it helped us find something faster. But then other professionals worry that could undermine our client's confidence. For instance, why am I paying you if a bot is doing the work? And that's a very valid point. So there's no strict rule on this yet, but it is something to consider. So really, in summary, in that bottom line there is we need to use AI responsibly. And we need to keep client trust and professional ethics front and center. And remember that we are the tax professionals. AI is not. All right, so if we're going to use it, oh, sorry, I'm moving ahead of my slides here. Okay. So we've talked a bit about some of the pros and cons. So how can we actually use AI wisely and effectively in our workflow? So first, never let it replace your thinking. AI is a supplement to your own expertise. You are the expert. So you might use it to gather ideas or maybe those first drafts, but you are still the human expert who validates and refines those ideas. And next, prompt writing. And you have probably heard about this, and it is very important. So the answers you get depend on how you ask. So, for example, if I ask, can I deduct a home office? I'm going to get a very vague answer. But if I ask, can a self employed graphic designer deduct home office expenses under current US law and what are the limitations? My answer is going to be more useful and focused. And we have to learn how to ask good questions. So this new skill is called prompt engineering. And I can't stress this enough, but you must double check everything the AI gets you. If the answer is yes, you can deduct X under IRC section 210, you need to go and actually read section 210 to see what it says and if you can't actually detect it. And I just made that up as an example, but you've got to be sure the law backs it up. Think of AI like an eager intern. They're very helpful, but they're also prone to error, so you must review all of their work. And another tip, you want to stay educated on both tax law and AI developments. So firms are starting to roll out their own AI tools, and so some of the larger firms actually even have proprietary tools that have guardrails, and many have policies. So for instance, some may require a partner approval before using AI on client work, or maybe there's a secure sandbox for it. But what's really important is that you know the rules of your workplace. And also, the last one that's really important here is always keep your own professional judgment. You might get an answer from one of these AI bots, but you decide if it makes sense, if it applies to your client's facts, and how you are going to communicate it. We are not offloading our responsibility. We're just using a new kind of software to help us do our job. All right. And so next, looking ahead, where is this going? What is the trajectory for AI in our field? And this is what I did my dissertation topic on, and I love technology and where it's going with the accounting field. And in short, the answer is it's evolving fast. So the AI we have from today is far from perfect, but these improvements are coming in at lightning speed. I mean, just in the past year, we've seen big leaps in accuracy and capability of these AI models. And different tech companies, Google, OpenAI, and there's so many more that are coming on the market, are working on even more advanced models. So we can expect that these tools are going to get better at understanding complex queries and maybe citing resources more reliable. I hope so. And I also predict, and I'm not alone in this, that AI is going to be built into professional tools that we already use. So Thomson Reuters, Checkpoint, or CCH are some big tax research tools that accountants already use. And having an AI in there that you can chat with, which already knows the current tax law and can pull in those latest regulations, would be incredibly helpful. And those companies and vendors are already exploring this. So our software is going to get smarter. If the software is getting smarter, what does that mean for us tax professionals? It means that our role is going to shift more to reviewing and interpreting rather than spending so much time on the initial lookup. It's like having a entry staff member who drafts the analysis, and you're going to spend a lot more time reviewing, checking, and advising based on it. So many people are saying that the future is human plus AI teams, and I do agree with that. I agree that AI can handle grunt work and maybe 80% of a task, but that human adds that 20% of insight and makes the final call. We need to remember that accounting is still a service business. Our clients are coming to us because they are relying on our human judgment. If it was just typing in an answer into one of these AI models, they could do that. Okay. So again, there's just some of those things that AI just can't do. They can't build a trusting relationship with the clients. They don't understand their personal goals or exercising ethical judgments. These are human elements, that personal touch, and it's going to remain crucial. So I'm not of the camp that AI is going to take our jobs. I do believe it is going to change how we do our jobs, and I believe that it's going to change it hopefully for the better if we adapt and use it wisely. All right, so to wrap up, let's just run through some key takeaways. Generative AI can be a game changer for us in our tax world, and I'm excited for it. It's like getting a fancy new power tool. It can do a lot of the heavy lifting, but you have to know how to use it properly. So the key takeaway here is to embrace the good, and we need to guard against the bad, right? We're going to enjoy the speed and the convenience. We're going to use it to spark new ideas for our clients, but we must always double check what it tells us. We need to keep sensitive information out of it, and we must uphold our ethical standards. So the tax code is not getting simpler anytime soon. I've been doing this for over 20 years, and it just keeps getting more complex. So having AI in our toolkit can be a huge help, but it's not going to replace our own knowledge or judgment. So as aspiring tax professionals in this class, we should keep learning about how these AI tools as they evolve, and in a couple of years, you might be using an AI-powered research assistant. Actually, I think it's going to be less than a couple of years. So you're going to be using an AI-powered research assistant probably every day at work here shortly. And by being an early adopter with caution, maybe you can be one in your firm who knows how to leverage this technology effectively. So your professional judgment is what matters most. So think of AI as an assistant, not the boss. If you use it thoughtfully, you can provide even better service to your clients. So, how do you envision using AI in your future career? That's something interesting to think about.